Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Court Cutting TV, Bluford's Tax Preparation, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, Casas Antonieta in Yelapa, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Montzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together as usual, 10:30 in the morning here in Puerto Vallarta, where we connect and take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. I usually share headlines about news that are important to us as a community of English-speaking locals, but today the news can wait. Today we are going to feature our very first Yelapa walk. Yay. You asked for it. It was sponsored, and we are going to deliver on that. So this is how it's going to go. We are going to first do the weather, just to get that out of the way. Then we'll do the Yelapa walk, and I welcome your questions with a big, big capital Q, capital letter Q, particularly if you want answers when we get to the chit chat section. So if you've never been to Yelapa, this is going to be a worthwhile opportunity to ask questions about what it's like to go. So let me just get the weather out of the way so we can focus on what matters. Oh, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just got engaged, commenced phase 2 of my plan. That's what snarky weather has to say. I say whatever. It is 29 degrees right now. Humidity is at 75. And our weather forecast says that today we're going to have clear skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 38%, a high of 32, and a low of 23. Then tomorrow, Thursday, will be a humid day with partly cloudy skies, a chance of rain of 57%, a high of 33, and a low of 24. Then Friday, mostly clear skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 75%, a high of 32, and a low of 23. Okay, now, before we get started, a couple of housekeeping items, because I'm going to repurpose this walk to use separately on its own on YouTube. You may hear me through the walk narrating or encouraging people to, join the channel or so forth and so on. So don't think I've lost my marbles. It's just because I do expect that some people will want to see the walk later on and will not know anything about Coffee and Headlines or who I am and so forth and so on. So I'm not losing my marbles. If you hear me mentioning that kind of information, and you want to throw a gratuitous comment that I can put on the screen, encouraging other people to follow the channel, it goes a long way to make things work for me and work for us as we continue to grow our projects. So I think we are ready to go. Are we ready? Are all the buttons ready? Yes. And of course, as usual, we'll take a look at your comments later on. Are you ready? Here we go. Hello, this is Coffee and Headlines. My name is Paco Ojeda, and today we are going to take the first of several walks, actually 2 walks, I believe, that we're going to do around Yelapa. So we are going to start by a little bit of housekeeping, particularly for those of you who have never been to Yelapa before. Yelapa, ooh, that doesn't look good. Let me change that. Boop. Yelapa, as you know, is on the south shore. Let me fix that view because it doesn't look good. There you go. Yelapa is on the south shore of Puerto Vallarta. You can only get there by boat, and the boat ride takes about an hour from the Los Muertos Pier, and it takes about 35 minutes from Boca de Tomatlan. You do see roads on this map, but for the record, these roads are only paths. For example, this path over here goes all the way to El Tuito, but is only drivable during the dry season and by using a big, sturdy vehicle. There are no streets on Yelapa, even though there seem to be streets on this map. So just keep that in mind, and you'll see that as soon as we start the actual walking tour. Now, when people go to Yelapa, whether they go for the day or go overnight, they're usually concerned with several things. The first one being the beach, which is right at the end of the Yelapa Bay. It is a great beach to enjoy for the day. There is a river, obviously, here, and this passage that connects the beach with this side of the bay can vary depending on how much water is on the river, what time of the year, whether it has rained or not. In our second walk, we will talk about the logistics of getting from one side of the river to the other when the water is high. But do know that when you take the boat will first stop on the beach and drop off people that want to go to the beach. And then the boat continues to the dock, which is where that red dot is. And you can get off on the town, particularly when you're planning on staying several days. Most people that are just there for the day will probably want to go to the beach, but you can also get off the boat on the town. So most people are concerned themselves with the town itself. This is where most of the rentals are, where the places to stay are, where the Airbnbs and the private rentals are located. People are also interested in the waterfall, the Cascada, which is down here. And also, for the record, the house where we stayed, which is Casas Antonieta, was located around this point, halfway between the beach and the town. So today, we are going to feature a walk that goes from Casas Antonieta into town and then up the road to the Cascada. This will be a walk in real time so that you can get a sense as to how long it starts. Before we actually get started, one more item of housekeeping. And just as a reminder, this walk is sponsored by our dear friend and community partner, Michael Beaufort, who owns both Bravo's Restaurant and Siam Cocina Thai. So we are extremely grateful to Michael for making this possible. And I certainly hope you find some time in your schedule to stop by and support his restaurants. And if you enjoyed the walk, just mention it to him. And I think that's all the housekeeping that we have. And now let us get started with our adventure. Okay, so of course we started our morning early at Los Muertos Pier. We met at Cuates y Cohetes. We had purchased our tickets, and before you know it, we were on our way to Yelapa. Now, If you've never taken any boat to the South Shore, you're missing out on these spectacular views of the Puerto Vallarta coastline and the South Shore coastline. It is a beautiful sight, and also depending on the season in which you're traveling, you could sight huge manta rays or dolphins or whales. Usually, the boat captains are very, very careful as they're going through the water to avoid any collisions with these wonderful animals. Now, sometimes the boats do make stops. There's no controlling that. But this time around, we went directly to Yelapa. Again, this is a trip that took about 50 minutes to get there. Now, I love this particular view because the Yelapa Cove or the Yelapa Bay is located directly behind this little hill. And for first time goers, it is so exciting because all you've seen is jungle. And then little by little, the town of Yelapa starts appearing behind this hill. And after looking at all this jungle, you just don't have any appreciation of how much Yelapa is a community of its own. It's been a growing community since the 50s and 60s. It's been popular with beatnik tourists from the United States since way back then. And it continues to draw a lot of people that have more of a laid back style. There are people that live there year round. And of course, for the rest of us, it is a pleasure to be able to visit when we get a chance. And again, the boat starts going around this little entrance to the bay, and before you know it, you will start seeing some structures on the opposite side of the bay. Usually, when you go in the morning, the water is very calm. I know that some people suffer from motion sickness, but there are pills for that if you struggle with this. But it also should be mentioned a number of times. If you have mobility issues, Yelapa can be very challenging. As you will see shortly, getting off the boat on the beach can sometimes be a little tricky, so you want to keep that in mind. And there you go, the boat starts entering Yelapa Bay, and the first thing that you notice is there are structures. And as you start getting closer, you start seeing that there are all these buildings there. And you can start seeing the very end of the very bottom of the bay, and that's where the beach is located. We are going to stop at the beach first. For some people to disembark, we actually stayed on the boat because we had instructions from Alexis to get off the boat on the pier. Which I might as well mention. He was there to welcome us, but he also prepares a beautiful video with instructions on how to open the lock with the keys and so forth and so on. So if you're considering staying at any of his properties, trust me, he will hold your hand and make sure that you can find the properties without a problem if you get there on your own. So there is the town. As you can see, it's on the far side of the bay, and we are heading directly to the beach where the boat captain is going to give instructions and ask people where you're going. If you're coming to the beach, he's going to make recommendations of places where you can eat. In some cases, you're encouraged to eat at certain palapa restaurants because it is included with your payment. We knew that we were going on our own, so we didn't pay much attention to this part of the announcement. But most of the boat captains speak Spanish and English. At this point, they just want to get a head count of how many people are getting off the boat where. And this is what the beach looks like. We will take a closer look at the beach on a separate walk, but I wanted to show you a little bit of the exercise of getting in and out of the boat. There's no pier here, so the boat just, you gotta jump. You gotta jump off the boat. There are usually people to help you. And then, of course, we continued on to the pier, which is a little bit more civilized when it comes to getting in and out of the boat. Again, Alexis was there to meet us. And from this point, we walked to Casas Antonieta. Let me stop this for a second. We walked to Casas Antonieta. I did the tour of the casas, which you have already seen, but I'll make sure to put a little link for people to be able to find it on YouTube later on. So once we unpacked, we decided let's go check out the waterfalls. So this is one of the two exits from Casas Antonieta, and the first thing that you're going to notice is this is the road, and the road is that wide. You cannot even feature regular vehicles in this road. There are many quad motorcycles, many of which will take you from one place to another if you don't want to walk. But this is us heading towards the town and towards the waterfall. Now, it is important to remember, as I mentioned the other day, this is a town that is all ejido owned.
Oh, no,
There are
make
no
that
private
three.
owners. Oh, we
can't have
stopped
a beer.
here, I believe, to look at this mural. And of course, there was this constant letting people go by on their quad motorcycles, which was new to me. Again, I had not been to Yelapa for over 10 years. So the number of vehicles that are going through the road has increased quite a bit. And there they go. So back to ownership. All these properties are owned by the townspeople. There are no private owners. So as you will notice, the way properties have grown against one another is almost organic, which is one of the fascinating qualities of the town. And this caught our attention. Somebody made a little sign to show the first telephone in Yelapa, which I don't even know if it's still in use. Funny, we were
Check
standing
this out,
right in
you
front of it,
guys.
but we didn't think to pick it up.
The first telephone in Yelapa.
Yes, the first telephone in Yelapa. I should have picked it up, actually.
Telephone.
Okay, at this point, the road starts heading downhill. Or if you're coming back, it's
Hello.
uphill to get into the town. And as long as I'm thinking about it, if you are staying overnight, bringing a flashlight is super useful, particularly at night, because if you're in town, you've had dinner, you're walking back to where you're going,
Okay.
not all the sections of this road are well
I
lit
don't know if you
at
heard
night.
that.
And if it's the
I don't know
rain
if you heard
season,
that
it
in my
can be
broadcast, but
slippery.
I was just
So
being
you
told
do
that I'm
want
the
to
one
keep
that
in
looks
mind,
like a
bring
tourist.
and carry a flashlight, also in case there
There's
are
a- there's a
power
little place here
outages. We spotted
where you
this
can
little
find out about
information
things
booth. There
to
was
do,
nobody
but not
there,
right
but at
now.
least you know that there are people around to answer all the questions that you may have.
No, I'm shooting.
Now, coming
Hold
up on the
on,
right
hold
hand
on.
side, there
You
is
can
this
do that, but let me show
beautiful
this view
vantage
first.
point.
Look at
You can
this.
see the pier on the
This
background,
is-
and you can see the town,
this
and
is
you
it.
can clearly see that
Look at
we're
all those
standing at a
boats.
vantage point. Let me stop this for a second. The structure that is on the very foreground, the closest structure right behind that green tree, is the Yacht Club. Now, back in the good old days, the Yacht Club would be open on Wednesdays at night, and it was a great place
look
to
at
go
the
dancing.
town.
I understand they still do this during the busy season Right now, it was not
And
open.
it's a good thing we're going downhill.
But we stopped here for you to be able to check out this view. And we continue heading down. As you can see, it's a little bit on the steep side. So again, you don't want to
There's a
be
sign
walking
there
this if you have
for a
mobility
place that's
issues.
available for
You want to
rent.
bring comfortable sandals that won't be slippery. And I'm starting to see your cues. Thank you for that, Angelica. I will be very happy to answer your question in a little bit. Or maybe we should answer it right now. At night, do they have good restaurants? They have great eateries. Whether they're good really boils down to your expectations. This is a tiny
This is
little
so
fishing
crazy.
village in the middle of nowhere. There are a couple of restaurants that are open during certain
How
seasons
there's all these
that
nooks and
are
crannies,
fancier than others.
and this
But
is
I
how the
think
town
if
has
you go to a
developed.
place like Yelapa having expectations of gourmet food, I think you might be missing the point. Now, check it out. A sign with apartments for rent. There are so many of those signs all over the town. There were so many of them. Coming up on the right hand side, the other day, some people asked me, what do you have to bring if you're going to go to Yelapa? The answer the other day was, if when it comes
One
to
of the
drinking,
shops in town
if you drink
where you can
anything
get all kinds of
fancy,
things.
you may want to bring it
There's a sign
along.
for a restaurant here.
But see, this is the kind of food that you can find. This is just your basic eatery. And
And the
here,
store
coming
is
up on the right hand side, is one of several convenience stores in the town. This is the largest one. Once again, we make way for all these vehicles.
Here's the store.
And here we go.
Small convenience
It's
store.
no different
What
than the
appetito.
convenience stores that you find in neighborhoods throughout Puerto Vallarta. You can find everything you
Buenas
need. You can
tardes.
find beer. And yeah, they had some wine and liquor in the back. So you
Ooh,
could
the booze.
actually, there you go. There's
Uh-oh.
there's Claude looking for the choices. So you can bring some stuff along. You don't have to. Another thing that you might notice is there's not a lot of people walking about. This is the summer. And for those of us that live in Puerto Vallarta year round, this is probably a nicer time to enjoy Yelapa. It can be a little dense people-wise
It's
when
crazy to think
when
that
it's
this
the
is
winter
Main
season
Street.
because there's a lot of
And it
daytime
has been Main Street.
visitors
there
or
are
day
more
trip
buildings
visitors.
here and there. Buenas tardes. There are more buildings, but Main Street
Now,
continues
coming
to be
up
as wide
on
or
the
as
right-hand
narrow as
side
I remember it.
after
Now,
this
this
bridge.
is one of the streams.
Actually, I stopped here to
that
make a
come
point.
from the
This
mountain.
is one of the streams
amount
that
of
carries
water I
the
see here
waterfall
tells me
water. As you
that
can
the
see, there's not a lot
waterfall
of
is
water
probably
coming
not
down,
very
but you will find that there's
strong right
surprisingly
now.
a
But
lot
that's okay.
more
We still wanna
water
see it.
by the time we reach the waterfall.
But
Why
look
is
at
that?
how
Well, because a lot
all
of
the
people put
houses
hoses to be able to
have
trap
sort of grown
some of the water coming down from the river
organically.
and use them on their
And
own
that's
time
beautiful
or their
horrible,
own
depending on how you
particular
look at it.
use. So coming up on the right-hand side is we found this restaurant called Glorias.
And we've been
We
recommended
ate
this
here
restaurant for lunch.
several times
Are
for
we eating
breakfast
now
and for
or on
dinner.
the way back?
This was a very, very comfortable restaurant
Okay.
with great
So,
cocktails
this
and
was
great sitting
recommended by our
areas, and
host.
it was
It's called
great.
Restaurant Glorias, and
The
we're
service
gonna
was
eat here
fantastic.
later
They
on.
even had some
Buenas tardes.
chingaderas
But it's a
available for you to purchase.
beautiful
So there you have it. That is
big,
about
big
as
restaurant
large and
that was highly
sophisticated
recommended by
an
Alexis,
eatery
our host.
you will find
Regresamos en un
in the
ratito.
town of Yelapa.
¿A las qué horas?
Let's see. Oh, we also ate at the eatery across the street, the one with the blue strip.
Okay.
And that was pretty adequate. It was nothing to write home about. But it was adequate. That's how I would describe it. Laura
think she said
asks,
that
we
they
saw a
look at
pizza
this.
place in October to the right
Funny.
on the trail. Was it open? Um, I didn't see a pizza place open this time of year, which is one of the disadvantages of going
I think she said
during the
close
summer months
soon.
when tourism is
We
low.
may end up
There
having
are
lunch
not
elsewhere.
as
I
many
think
options. Now,
everybody's heading
on the
towards
right hand side,
waterfall.
you can see a little court, and that's the way to the pier. But this time around, we didn't go there. We continued going into town because we wanted to find the road to the waterfall, which is coming up shortly.
Another sign for
Another
place.
restaurant, another basic eatery. And as you can see, most of the buildings are here with no rhyme or reason or no sense of order. This is the way the town
Okay,
has
I think
grown.
this is the waterfall walk.
And here is the left hand
my
turn
friends
to
are
the
heading
waterfall.
to the waterfall. And in case you're wondering, where
And
you're
of course,
going,
we went in
look,
the
there's
afternoon
all kind of
because
signage
a couple of my friends had never been to the
everywhere you
waterfall.
go.
They were anxious to check it out. And you will find that the amount of time that it takes us to get to the waterfall, which is going to be another 12 minutes, 10 minutes actually, we are going to have to stop a lot for these vehicles to go by because the road is
It's the
simply
rush hour.
not wide enough. Then there are also horses. Those are the two ways in which people can get to the waterfall. And of course, there's a place that sells micheladas and other boozy cocktails, so you can load yourself up with a boozy cocktail on the way to the waterfall. Lars is carrying a beer. And I
That
think
is
I was too. No, I
hysterical.
was busy filming.
It's not even 10 minutes. It's not even 10 minutes. Careful, careful. Ay. You gotta work with the
Laura
system.
says, love this so much. Well, if you're watching this video and you're not familiar with who we are or what we do, this is Coffee and Headlines. We are a morning broadcast here in Puerto Vallarta. Do check out our channel on YouTube. There's a lot of content that has to do with people that
Oh wow.
are familiar with
Technology,
Puerto Vallarta,
farmacia.
love Puerto Vallarta, or would love
Look at
to explore more of Puerto Vallarta. So if you enjoyed this video, it helps a great deal if you share it with your friends. Now, I'm starting to see some questions here.
This is so cute.
Mark asks, are those
it's
vehicles for
closed.
tours or for locals? I would say for both. I would say for both. I mean, I think just about anyone that has one of those, if you tell them,
Here's the woodwork place.
we want a ride, I'm sure that they will give you a ride, for the right price. Now, this is a fascinating spot.
This
It was closed right
woodwork
now,
place
but right on
has
the
been out
path,
here
there is this wood
it
turning
says here, for
shop
over 45 years.
that was closed,
The Rodriguez family has been
unfortunately,
handcrafting
but
unique
it has been
rosewood
there forever. I
items.
would have
Cállense.
loved to
Here in
stop
our Yelapa
and
shop,
talk to the
we
wood
do not
turning
cut
guy,
rosewood
maybe
trees
buy
out in the
something from
rainforest.
them.
Only dead
But
wood
the
is
two
used.
times that we walked
But
up
what's
to the
beautiful is
waterfall,
that
the place
it's out
was
here
either
in the
closed
open, and it's
or
unfortunate
they
that
had
it's
gone out
closed
to
right
eat.
now.
But notice how
I'm
wide
sure-
open and out, out in the open, they
Do you guys
leave
see a
everything.
schedule anywhere?
This says a lot, I suppose, about the level of safety
Hopefully,
going
we'll be able
on
to come here tomorrow.
in Yelapa. There's a question here. Barbara asks,
Okay, let's keep
what
going.
has replaced the Lagunita
We're not
Resort
even halfway
on the
here.
beach? Actually, the answer to that is nothing. And we will be able to see that when we take a look at our beach walk, which will be a separate walk. And now the horses. Yes, you can get, excuse me, you can get to the waterfalls by horse. There are people that offer
This is so much fun.
horseback
Have you
riding
guys
tours.
seen this?
And what can you do? All you can do is make way for them to get by.
Something really horrible, but I won't.
The good thing is we were not in a rush.
Hola.
We had just arrived,
Buenas tardes.
and we were
Valentia.
very, very happy to just take our time and take a look at people. Were there mosquitoes everywhere? Flies in the ointment. He he, says Susan Davidson. There were mosquitoes early in the morning and at some point in the evening, but not, you got to bring repellent any time of year, particularly
Buenas
if you're
tardes.
prone to getting bitten. Bringing repellent is a good idea. Now, check this out. On the way to
muy
the cascadas, to the waterfalls, there are all these stands selling chingaderas, and it is
houses for
absolutely
rent.
wonderful that people are trying to make a living. Another house available for rent. People are trying to make a living, and that's okay too. Coming up on the left-hand side, we've checked out. Well, we didn't actually eat there, but there's this restaurant that serves al fresco,
Buenas
and they built
tardes.
this awesome kitchen right there. Check it out. It's
Buenas
a wood
tardes.
kitchen. I may have taken some photos of it, maybe not. But there we go, and we continue heading to the
Can
waterfall.
you smell the wood burning? Oh, that is so good.
Of course, if you're watching this and you are not connected to our regular programming, everything we put together here at Coffee and Headlines is supported by viewers.
Such
So
a pleasure.
if you find any of this
document
content
this.
useful, you can always
I've
stop
done
at
this before,
buymeacoffee.com
but it's been
/
10 years,
and
and it's
/
such a
Ojeda
unique
Paco.
experience.
And there are several
When
ways
you
in
think
which
about it.
you
Look
can
at all these
support
people trying to
our
make a
channel
living.
so we can
These are
continue
things
bringing
along
all
the
these
way.
walks to you.
And why
Whether
not?
you wish to engage with the walking tours and all the different cultural features that we offer
Buenas
about
tardes.
Mexico and Puerto Vallarta,
¿Cómo le va?
or whether you wish to
Qué
engage
bueno.
on our
Buenas
morning
tardes.
show where we feature
Pues ahí
news
vamos,
and headlines about Puerto
regorditos.
Vallarta and the state of Jalisco, and of course, headlines about Mexico.
I mean, the town knows how popular the waterfalls are. Look at all these things. Everybody's trying to make a living.
Pareos. Now, those
I
can be
love it.
useful if you didn't bring one to Yelapa.
Buenas tardes, jefa, ¿cómo le va? Gracias, qué amable.
And of course, we kept saying buenos dias and buenas tardes to everyone. That's what we do here in Mexico. The vendors didn't look
Buenas
very
tardes, ¿cómo
happy.
le va?
They didn't look unhappy. Some of them were hoping for more sales. But it is that time of year
It's
in
all
which,
downhill on the way back,
there's not
boys.
as many tourists in Yelapa as there are during the winter months. Again, it's a plus or a minus depending on how you look at it. Joanne, your talented wood guy, for all I know, he was just taking lunch or taking a siesta. I don't know. Okay, so we come to this place, and this is like Grand Central. This is as far as the vehicles go.
It's a whole
So anybody getting to the waterfalls by vehicle gets off here. And then coming up on the right-hand side, you will see a crazy amount of horses.
This is like Grand Central. And all the horses are here.
Actually,
have
that's not the
radios.
crazy. When we were coming
And they're
back, it
talking to
was
one
like
another.
horse
This is
rush
so
hour. It
sophisticated.
was
I love it.
absolutely crazy. And thank you for that, Michael. Yes, I was in a very happy place for a couple of reasons. Number one, I hadn't been
Oh,
in Yelapa in forever.
buenas
Number
tardes.
two, I was looking at it through the eyes of friends that had never been to the waterfall, which made it super, super special to me.
Buenas
So
tardes.
now people have gotten off the all terrain vehicles. We're getting close to the
And we are
entrance
almost there.
of the waterfall. Let me clear my throat. Hold on. And there you go. From this point on, you cannot bring your own
There you
food
go.
because obviously there's
No
food and
food or
drinks
drinks.
available moving on. And that makes perfect sense.
I hope that means we're going to be offered a nice cocktail. Oh, wow.
And before you know it, we can start seeing glimpses of the waterfall,
Yes.
and it's coming up,
Ah,
and there it is. And it was crowded. It was crowded. There were tons of people having a good time. There was the iguana guy. We know not to talk to the iguana people. But there's the waterfall. Even in the summer when the water was low, there was still plenty of
it's
water coming
crowded.
down. There were a lot of people swimming.
There
There
are a lot
was
of
a
people here.
marriage proposal while we were
There
there,
are a lot of people
which was
swimming.
absolutely funny. My friends
And
didn't
I
think
cannot say that
twice
I
and they
blame
got in the
anyone.
water. I was busy documenting this,
Ah.
so I didn't get
Well, here we are.
in the water, at
We
least
reached the
not
cascada.
on
We
this
reached the
day.
bar. And
As you
since
will see
everything is downhill
momentarily,
from here,
we decided
I'm
we
hoping
wanted to go back
get a
on the
chance
following morning
to have a nice
so that
beverage.
we could experience
And
the cascadas
I'm signing off
early
with
in the
this
morning
view.
when there's no people there. And this is something to keep in mind. If you go for the day, there's always going to be a lot of people there. If you go overnight, going to the cascada early in the morning, as we did here the following morning, is the best way to enjoy the cascada. When we were there, it was only six of us plus two other people. These are my friends. And we spent a good 45 minutes in the water by ourselves, enjoying our surroundings. And the water was absolutely refreshing and it was wonderful. Whoops, there goes Farid. And it was such a wonderful time. And this pretty much brings us to the end of this walk. In a separate walk, we'll take a look at the beach.
If
And
you like.
that was that was it. That was it. Oh my God, we made it. And there's another question here. Let me actually take a look at all of your questions, although there weren't that many. Let's see. Chris asks, what new location would you like to visit for your next adventure? Well, Chris, I have a couple of things that I've been thinking about. I've been thinking a lot about other pueblos mágicos in the state of Jalisco. There's one called Mazamitla that is complicated to get to because of where it is located in the state. I really want to go there. That would be my first ever, hopefully within the next few months. Of course, this afternoon, I'm going to go, if it doesn't start raining, I'm going to go to check out the ferry to get to Islas Marias after I record my spotlight interviews. And that is something that I would definitely like to do. Laura asks, did you have a drink there? The bar on the right we almost went to, they were really funny fellows. We would have had a drink the first day if it wasn't so crowded, but it was crowded. And the following morning, I think it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning when we went. And you know, you don't have cocktails that early in the morning. So no drinks were had at at the bar at the Cascada. So this was our broadcast for today. Again, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for supporting everything we do. Once again, thank you to Michael Beaufort for supporting these walks. I will get on to editing the second walk and I will have it ready for you in the near future. In the meantime, I'll be at Cafe Rio at the Joint Boutique Hotel this afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock. If you care to stop by and say hello. If not, I will be back here tomorrow morning for more coffee, more headlines, and more stories. Thank you for joining me and have a great day.